Dave Graham 46 asked, favorite thing to do outside of the gym, favorite TV to binge watch, favorite movie of all time and why, when training, what is your music of choice? Jesus, like 6 questions here, Dave. I'm going to nail them off one by one. Okay, here we go. Quick trigger. Favorite thing to do outside the gym, eat. I love going to dinner with my wife. I love going to dinner with friends. My favorite thing to do. Favorite thing to binge watch, Game of Thrones. If not Game of Thrones, something like Game of Thrones. Currently watching The Last Kingdom on Netflix. Favorite movie of all time and why? Probably American Gangster. Partly because it's a true story, partly because Denzel Washington's a fucking badass. When training, what is your music of choice for an epic workout? Anything fucking hostile. And hostile doesn't mean angry, but in that sense, I'm using the actual word hostile. I train with a lot of emotion. Some people are very technical. They don't need to be angry or whatever. They just go in and they know the sets and the reps and the form they want, and they can get the job done being very calm and very just methodical. I'm an emotional lifter. When I go to the gym, I start getting like fucking amped up. I got to put the music on, either some Disturbed or some fucking, if it's rap, it's probably Wu-Tang or like fucking Ice Cube, or if it's rock, it's like Disturbed or Metallica. You know, I'm drawing a blank right now, but like usually anything that's going to emit any type of fucking emotion from me. Because when I train, I try and stir up any type of angry feelings I have. Either I got in a fight with my wife and I'm using that anger and I'm channeling it in the gym, or I lost the last show I did and I'm using that anger and I'm channeling that anger in the gym, or I just created some shit in my head that's not real, but it's causing me to be fucking aggressive. And that way when I get to the gym, I could train my fucking ass off, because I can't train if I'm not feeling aggressive. So I have to have that music that just evokes something in me and gets me kind of riled up. So I don't know if you guys are like that. I know some people are, but I know, like I said, a lot of people are just very methodical, and they don't need to feel that anger or aggressiveness. They just can get the performance out of their body without that. But personally, I like to train with that aggressive nature. So I need aggressive music to back it up. C-Team Captain says, have you ever encountered strength plateaus in the gym? And if so, what changes did you make to overcome them? Well, in 20 years, yes, you're going to hit a strength plateau. So my bench, even though I went over a couple times, is pretty consistently at 405. My squat, even though I've gone over a few times, pretty consistently is at 405. My deadlift, even though I've gone over, is consistently pretty much at 405. Barbell rows are usually 3 or 4 plates. I mean, it's all, you reach a plateau on everything at some point. Unless you're Luke Sandow, then you start stiff leg deadlifting fucking 8, 9, 10 plates until there's no room on the bar. But he's a freak, and we're not all like that. If you're normal, you're going to reach a point in your career where you just can't lift anymore. And if you're talking about before that, I would just lift through them. Like, I don't know, maybe that's not the best advice, but I feel like people are too concerned with plateaus. But I think it's because people don't realize how long it takes. Like I got clients that are like, after 3 weeks, are like, I think I hit a plateau. I'm like, it's only been 3 fucking weeks. 3 weeks is not enough time for something to start working. So you really have to define what a plateau is. It's like, okay, if you were benching and you were benching 1 plate and then 2 plates and then, 2 and a 10, 2 and 2 10s, 2 and 3 10s, and then you couldn't get to 3 plates. Okay, but you're close. You're doing 6 reps, 6 reps, 6 reps. And then like, I would just tell you to wait it out. Like, just keep eating and wait it out. Your body will break that plateau eventually. I don't think that's how it's always worked for me. I've never employed some like crazy techniques to go from a 4-plate squat to a 5-plate squat. I just kept squatting 4 plates until 4 plates felt light. Then I put 4 plates and a 10 on the bar. I did that for as long as I had to, because for me, it's not about, look, if you're a power lifter, I'm probably not the right guy to ask. There's probably a lot of strength techniques that you can do in powerlifting that will help you. But if you're a bodybuilder, it doesn't fucking matter if you lift 4 plates or 5 plates, as long as you're lifting to your greatest ability. If I'm failing at 8 reps with 4 plates, I don't give a shit. I don't put more weight on the bar until I can get 12 reps. If I do 405 with 10 reps, I'm like, okay, I'll put 4, let's say 10 reps, I start to add weight. And that's how I always did it. That was always my mindset. Once I get to 10, put some more weight on. Okay, now I have 4 and a 10 on there. I'll do 405 and a 10, which is 425. I'll do 425 for as long as I have to, as long as I'm failing at 8. Once I start failing at 10, then I'll put another 10 on. So I don't see what the problem is. As long as you're eating enough and you're training your fucking ass off, your body is going to recover and you're going to break the plateau eventually. And if you don't, if you're lifting heavy enough and you're failing at that weight, as long as you're eating, you're going to keep growing. So I don't know. I don't know how. There has to be more specifics to the plateau. Okay. Because most of the time when I hear people talking about plateaus, it's like they're stuck at a weight for like 2 or 3 weeks or a month. And I'm like, just give it some time. Just give it some time. Just keep eating. Keep eating and keep lifting, and your body will recover and grow and adapt, and you'll break that plateau eventually. N Said 99 says, thoughts on intermittent fasting. Very quickly, if you want to be a professional bodybuilder, I don't think intermittent fasting is good for you. It's counterproductive. For guys like us, putting on maximum amounts of muscle, you want to be eating all the time. Every 2 hours, get a fucking meal in. That's how you grow. I know you're going to call bro science. That's fine. Until you find me somebody who's gotten huge from eating twice a day, my science works and your science doesn't. So, secondly, if you don't want to get huge and you already have the amount of muscle you want on your body and you just want to get lean, intermittent fasting can work. I don't suggest it. It's not my favorite way to get lean, but it can work. Next question is from Nicholas DiPietro. 1. Do you have any pre-show or post-show rituals, traditions you always do? Post-show rituals are pretty simple. I order as much junk food as I can, and I sit and watch sometimes my favorite movies, reruns of movies, or new movies. Kind of my favorite thing to do after a show. Just decompress. Like a week straight. I just sit on my fucking ass. I might go train, but the rest of the day, I'm just sitting on my ass and I'm watching my favorite movies or new movies, and I'm just probably picking out on my favorite junk food that I didn't get to eat while I was dieting. Pre-show, there's a lot of rituals, man. The rituals range from drinking out of the same coffee cup in the morning on the way to cardio to sitting in the same place with the same fork, with the same plate when I eat my meals, to watching a specific TV show while I'm eating a meal because it's the only thing that can, I don't know, it's really, really weird. I can't even explain my pre-show rituals, but some of them are so fucking strange. Like I have to watch the news. Okay, I'll give you an example. I have to watch the news usually while I'm eating my meal because it's fast. I can't, when I'm dieting, I have a very short attention span. So the news kind of rolls over quickly. So it helps me while I'm dieting. But if a commercial comes on, I have to stop eating. Get that one. It's fucked up. But when the commercial's done, I can start eating again. So yeah, there's a lot of things in my pre-contest diet that go like that are pretty fucking weird, but it's just my way. Hoss, I've been busting my ass in the gym every single day, but my weight hasn't moved. Been hovering around the same 3 pounds up or down for months now. Diet is good. Strength is more, though. I can lift heavier each passing day. Your diet is not good. There's only one, I don't know. I hate to make absolute comments like this, but there's usually only one reason why you're not gaining weight, and it's usually because you're not eating enough food. Unless you're genetically blessed with an extremely fast metabolism where you just can't gain weight, I would say that you're not eating enough food. People always say my diet's good, and then I ask them what they're eating, and it's like nothing. So you may think your diet is good, but until you sit down with somebody who's bigger than you and he goes, no, this is what I ate to get big, and this is what everybody around me that's big ate to get big, then you'll be like, oh shit, I'm about 1,000 calories off. If you're not uncomfortable, you're not eating enough. Like when I'm eating a lot to gain weight in the off season, I'm uncomfortable. And anybody who's put on any significant amount of weight or muscle will tell you that when they put on that amount of muscle, they were eating to a point where it was uncomfortable. How do you schedule your rest? Ed AACD says, how do you schedule your rest days? Do you ever skip rest days and hit the weights if your body is feeling great? Or add an unscheduled rest day if you feel worn down and beat up? I'll say this. I did 2 years or 3 years of instinctual training, and I think it's probably been my downfall and why I've been more injured than ever before. I hate skipping the gym, so I don't anymore. And that's why I'm injured. I really fully believe that you should schedule rest days. And I made myself a believer because I think I buried myself with training to the point where I learned my lesson now. If you have scheduled rest days, take them. Take them. It can't hurt. If you're training 5 days a week and you have a rest day and you're like, no, you know what? I kind of feel like going in. It may hinder your progress. Just train really hard the days you have scheduled, and on your rest days, rest. Make them a real rest day. And if you're feeling burnt out, you don't have a rest day, take the rest day. So that doesn't work the same way. If you are burnt out and you feel like you need a rest day, take it. If you are feeling great and you feel like going to the gym to train, but it's your scheduled rest day, I'm at the point now through trial and error where I learned that I think the rest day is more important. Even though you feel good and you feel like you could probably go, it's going to hinder the next day. Because at some point you need a day off, right? So like let's say I went to the gym Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday's my day off. Oh, I feel good Thursday though. Maybe, you know what? I think I'm going to go train. Well, what about Friday? So now you missed your day off. Now you're there on Friday, and that's your 5th day in a row. You went Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Now Friday is your 5th day in a row that you've been training. Well, maybe Friday's workout's going to fucking suffer, and then Saturday's another day. So now you have 6 days in a row. You're like, is Saturday going to suffer? One of those days is going to suffer. You're not going to go 6 hard days. You might do it 1 week. You're not going to go 6 hard days every week. Even if you do it 1 week, if you're training hard enough, you probably need a day off. Because even John Meadows, as crazy as he is in the gym, he trains 6 days a week. But 2 of those days are pump days where they're like not as heavy or not to failure or that kind of thing. So you're not going to go balls to the wall 6 days a week. And if you miss that rest day, that means you have to go 6 days a week. So I don't advise that anymore. I used to, but I kind of learned my lesson. I think if you want to grow, you need to take advantage of those rest days. Okay. Josh Foley asks, what's your philosophy on lifting accessories and how do you incorporate them into your training without relying on them too much? Lifting accessories could range from a whole host of things. So I believe in a belt for heavy sets, not every set. I believe in knee wraps for heavy sets, not every set. So like when I'm squatting, when I get to 4 plates, I'll put my knee wraps on. 5 plates for sure, putting knee wraps on. I believe in elbow sleeves for benching. I believe in resistance bands for everything. I believe in occlusion bands for occlusion training. So yes, I believe in all the accessories, but to limited use. None of those accessories I named are things you should be using every single day, all the time. I have bands. I bring them with me to the gym all the time, but I don't use them every day. And even in the workouts, I do use them. I use sparingly. You know, if I use them like in a leg workout, I might strap them onto the leg press. That's probably the only place I'll use them. I don't use them on every single exercise. If I bring occlusion bands and I'm using occlusion bands that day to do for my training because I want a kind of different feel, I'll put the occlusion bands on my legs for, like, say, leg extensions or leg curls, but I won't put them on for anything else because I just want to get that initial blood flow into the leg, or I want to finish the workout with this crazy, insane pump and then walk away. So I believe in all the accessories, but to limited use. I don't believe in overdoing any of it. I mean, I guess lifting, like using elbow sleeves is kind of different. That's just to keep your joint warm. So you would leave that on the whole workout. But wrist wraps, knee wraps, weight belts, they're all important, but to limited use. You don't want to use them on all your sets, just your heavy sets. That's what they're there for. Okay, so what we got here? Let's go through a few more. Philly Dog 123 asks, I just wanted to know, what are some of the ways you make your diet exciting? In the off season, I do whatever I want. As long as I'm not getting super fat. Like, for example, this morning, I made scrambled eggs. I used egg whites, and I used 3 eggs, and then I put butter in the eggs while they were cooking to make them, like, kind of creamier. I don't care. As long as I'm not fat, I don't give a shit. If I'm a little fat, it's okay. As long as I'm not really fat. So it's on you. Like, it depends. If you want to stay shredded all year, then yeah, you're not going to be able to make it too exciting. Or you're going to have to learn how to really cook, because really good cooks can make really clean food taste really good using different vegetables and stuff like that, different spices. I'm not that great a cook. So in the off season, when I want to make something taste good, I'm going to add some butter. I'm going to put it in a burrito with some cheese. I might make chicken and cut it up, put it in a burrito with cheese, and that make a chicken cheese kind of burrito thing. Or I might just do pasta with pasta sauce. I love that. It's not really clean. I mean, the pasta sauce is going to add weight. I'll usually make it with some olive oil and things like that. When I'm dieting, I don't do anything. I suffer. I actually like my food to taste worse when I'm dieting, because I don't want to be looking forward to it. If my chicken's dry and shitty, that's fine. I'll get it down, and then I don't give a fuck about it anymore. I don't want my food to taste amazing, so I'm like waiting for my next meal. You know what I mean? Like, when I'm dieting, I don't care. It's just fuel. It's not going to be good no matter how good I make it taste. And if I do make it taste great, the worst feeling in the world is wanting more food when your food is already done. So in the off season, I kind of have whatever I want to make it taste good. And when I'm dieting, I don't really think about that. Let's see here. We'll do a couple more. And Leonello says, post-show training, what are some signs you feel physically that lets you know it's time to start another 8 to 12 week training program versus sticking with just pump workouts for a few more weeks? I'm not sure what that means. I was just so ready to train crazy again that I feel like I didn't give my body enough time to get back into the swing of things. Leonello, you have a misconception of what training hard is, and I don't really believe in weeks of pump workouts. So I may be crazy, but I don't know any other bodybuilders that do that either. So what I'm saying is this. Let's say you did a show this past Saturday. If I did that show the Saturday that just passed, the Sunday I would wake up. I'd probably take the Sunday off, rest, eat, relax. Maybe the Monday, also take the Monday. Tuesday, I'm back in the fucking gym. And it's not a pump workout. I'm going fucking ape shit. And I'm not saying I'm going ape shit like I'm not going to get back to squatting 4 plates, because maybe I took a diuretic on the weekend and I want my body to fully recover. My electrolytes are all out of balance because I've been eating all this sodium and this sugar, and I was depleted for a while. So I'm not necessarily back in the gym benching or squatting or rowing like my record numbers, but they're not pump workouts. I'm killing it. Like, I want to use that post-show rebound to fucking swell right up. I don't know what pump workouts are. If you ask John Meadows, he has pump workouts in his weekly split. And he said to me, I don't think you should do them because you don't know how to. He's like, you should probably just take the day off, because every time I would go in for a pump workout, it would end up being a full blast workout. So I'm not really sure how to answer this question other than to tell you, if you're doing weeks of pump workouts, you're wasting time. Don't waste time. That doesn't mean get to the gym and try and break records after you just finished a show and you're all depleted and your electrolytes are all out of balance and you're retaining water and all this shit. It just means when you get back to the gym, get back to the fucking gym. You're back in the gym. Train to failure. Work your fucking ass off. That's what you're there for. You're there to cause trauma, to cause growth. You're not there for pump workouts. You're not there to be safe. You know, people may look at me and say, oh, you're so injured all the time, blah, blah, blah. The best of us get injured. Look at fucking Larry Wheels, strongest guy on earth, just tore a bicep. Brian Shaw, world's strongest man. How many fucking muscles has he torn? Antoine just tore a bicep. Luke hurt his quad earlier this year. Not anything serious, but a little bit of a quad strain. Everybody goes through this shit if you're pushing to the limit. But the thing that a lot of you don't understand is you're not going to get there if you're not pushing to the limit. You're not going to get the pro card over the other guy if you're doing weeks worth of pump workouts. That guy is going to fucking beat you because he's not doing weeks of pump workouts. He's like, the show's over. I took a day off. It's back to fucking work. And that's what it takes. So I appreciate the question, but if you're asking me when to get back to work, it's the day after the show. Phil Fay 2017 says, how do you find yourself practicing posing and stretching? I feel like there's a lot of posing and stretching that goes into the sport, but it is never seen. I don't stretch and I don't pose, and I'm not proud of either. So I'm not saying anybody should do what I do. I may stretch a little bit after cardio in the morning, but it's definitely not a valid stretch. It's not legit. And as far as posing goes, I probably did more posing when I was younger, but I don't pose enough either. So do not listen to my advice. I'm not advocating either one of those things. I think dynamic stretching, pre-workout is a good thing. That means stretching with movements. And I think static stretching is a good thing post-workout, which means static holds, like holding your stretches. The worst thing I see is when people are doing static stretching before they train, because that actually weakens the muscle. So don't static stretch before workouts. Dynamic stretch, which means like, kick your leg. If you're trying to stretch your hamstring, you would like kick your leg up in the air kind of thing, right? Or if you want a static stretch, you're going to bend over and touch your toes and hold that for 30 seconds, but that's going to be after your workout. So I don't do enough of that. I've been doing more of it lately because of, the injuries and things. I've been trying to like heal my body and like get it to a place where I don't get injured. Posing, I think, is an everyday thing. I think it's something I used to do and I should do more of now. But I think posing is an everyday thing. Even if you just did 10 minutes every day, you're going to see a dramatic difference come showtime. So that's my advice on those two things. Shep CB says, what are your thoughts on double weight sessions a day, AM before work, then PM after work? Aside from your work schedule, AM, PM workouts can be awesome. There's a few things you have to worry about, and Justin Compton touched on this on our last podcast. You have to be eating enough. You have to be sleeping enough. And if you're not, you're going to burn out after 3 or 4 weeks. And that's what I felt, because I was doing it during a contest diet. And I usually can only do it for 3 or 4 weeks where I really feel burnt out. And that's with like an hour or two nap every day, plus, eating a really clean diet. and it's a diet. So it's like, there's a lack of calories. So that's probably not a good thing, but I was sleeping a lot. I still burned out. The AM, PM workouts can be great. You have to structure them properly. If they're both AM and PM or both balls to the wall and you're training 5 days a week, you better be eating a lot of calories and you be better getting a lot of sleep, or you're in for torture. The other thing Justin touched on our podcast was sometimes it started to beat up his tendons. You might start to get some knee pain, some elbow pain, just that repetitive motion day in, day out, twice a day. It's going to get to you. So I think it can be very valuable in spurts. That's the way I'm going to use it from now on. 3 weeks at a time, bang them out twice a day. And then as soon as my body starts to feel tired, rest. Go back to a 4-day split or a 5-day split and let my body counterbalance and like grow back into that torture that I just put it through. Let's see, how many more do we have here? Jesus. Okay, I'm going to cut these short because there's a bunch. So King Bravo 47 says, when should one transition towards making bodybuilding a lifestyle from just being a gym rat? That's up to you, man. You're eventually going to get the itch. If you just want to be a gym rat, you're going to go be a gym rat. You're going to look decent in clothes and you're going to be happy. You have a good physique. But if you want to be a bodybuilder, that's a totally different lifestyle. Now you're calculating your macros and you're fucking worried about what you're eating, and you're not going to go to restaurants as much, and you're going to maybe curb your drinking, and you're not going to go party with your friends as much and all that shit. The bodybuilding lifestyle, to live it as a competitor, is totally different than bodybuilding as a hobby. If I'm bodybuilding as a hobby, I can miss a meal here or there. I can go drinking on the weekend, whatever. I don't care if I lose a couple pounds of muscle. I don't care if I'm just maintaining. It doesn't fucking matter, right? But if you want to be a competitive bodybuilder, you're competing with other people that are fucking nuts. They're crazy. There are people competing. I thought I was crazy. And then I met people like Justin Compton, Evan Senapani, Dorian Yates. I didn't meet Dorian Yates, but like you start to hear about people that are actually crazy. They're like calculating every grain of rice, and everything is logged in a logbook, and everything is perfect. And if you're not perfect, that other person is going to beat you. And that's just a fact. So when you're going to transition from being a gym rat to a real bodybuilder, you better be fucking ready, because your life is going to change. And if your life doesn't change, you're not going to be very successful. So you have to decide when you're ready to commit 100% to the lifestyle, or else it's going to be a shitty existence on that stage. I'll tell you that. Thomas X Frame Army says, are there any injuries you pushed through that you were glad you did and decided not to back off? And how did you find the line between don't train like a pussy versus train smart? I will tell you that I have not found the line, and that's evident by all my injuries. It's hard, man. It's hard. Some of it's genetic. Some of it is knowing when to rest. I can't really give you the formula because, look, my knees kind of nag from time to time. I push through, right? You can kind of feel when they warm up. Okay, they're warm. They feel pretty good. I'm going to go hard now. My elbow, it was nagging for a long time, and then my tricep finally tore. But it was nagging badly. But, I was getting ready for a contest, so I didn't have the luxury of just fucking sitting out. Maybe I shouldn't have been benching 3 plates, but I can normally bench 4, so I was like, this isn't crazy. I think, personally, if you're going to be an open bodybuilder where you want to put on a mass amount of muscle, right? You have to train, unless you're genetically gifted, you have to train hard. And I think if you're going to train hard and you're going to push your body to the limit every day, all the time, shit's going to happen. I mean, look, even the smartest lifters, right? Take Jay Cutler. For a little while, he had a problem with his hip or his leg, and then it led to one leg atrophying more than the other. And then he tore his bicep near the end of his career. Like, everybody is going to reach a point where something happens, no matter how smart they are. Some people get away with it unscathed. Knock on wood. Dexter's been okay. He had a little problem with his bicep last year, I think. Dexter's been okay. Sean Roden looks like he's been pretty good. Like, some people reach a good level and reach it unscathed and walk away okay, but they're also genetic freaks. I think if you're not in that genetic freak pool, you got to train like Dorian Yates. You got to train like Branch Warren. Not that they're not genetic freaks, but like, they maximize their genetic freakishness by going fucking apeshit. And I think you only get to the upper limits of this sport by pushing boundaries. And when you push boundaries, as you know, with every great bodybuilder, Dorian, Ronnie, Branch, Evan Sanapani, I mean, you can count, just go down the list. Anybody who's been great, who's pushed their body to the max, has suffered injury. So it's really hard to know. It's hard to know. Short of getting an MRI every month, it's hard to know when that little pain is just a little pain or if it's something that's going to be a lot more devastating. I'm sorry I don't have a better answer for you. I wish I knew. If I knew, I wouldn't be as injured as often as I am. But if you're constantly, like I said, if you're constantly going to push that limit, something's going to happen. Okay, last one. J. Kelly 89 says, at what point in your bodybuilding career was there a turning point for you where it clicked and you knew bodybuilding was something that you could do well or at least be successful with? It first started out with a hobby. It started out as a hobby and a dare. And I did the first show, and then I won my first show. I won the overall. And I really liked the feeling. I really liked the process of getting shredded and putting on the muscle. And I liked looking better. I liked being on stage, as nervous as I was. I liked the feeling of, I liked the adoration of the crowd, even though most of them were just my family and shit. It felt cool. I was like, oh, fuck, I'm on stage. Because I'm more of an introvert. So it was kind of cool to be on stage and have applause. And I'm like, hey, this is a kind of a cool feeling. Everything about it, I loved. From the training to the fucking standing there with a Protan brush. Like, at the time, you had to roll it on like paint. Everything was just cool. It was this really cool process. And after I won my overall, I'm like, I think I want to do this again. And then I won my second overall, and I'm like, I'm going to just keep fucking doing this. And then I started to see that you could make money. I started kind of investigating, and I'm like, you can actually make money at this. You can get sponsors. You can do this and that. And after I won my second overall, I was like, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. And I didn't tell too many people because I was like kind of embarrassed because I'm like, I didn't think anybody thought I could do it, but I knew I was going to do it. I knew in my head it was what I wanted to do. And I think what I did over the course of my career, over the course of my life in my 20s, was I put myself in a position where nothing else was possible. I left university, which I don't advise, because if I do have any regrets, that's the only one. But I left university after 2 years. I left any good job I ever got. But when I turned pro, I was bouncing as a strip club manager. I had really good jobs before that. I had a couple of them. But I kept leaving. I kept leaving anything that would give me an outlet to leave bodybuilding. I kind of pigeonholed myself in this way that it had to work, or else I was going to fucking be a bum living on the street. So I made it the only thing possible, and that made me work that much harder, because I'm like, okay, if I don't do this, I'm going to be a failure. So it was after my second show. After my second show, it clicked. I'm like, I like the way this feels. I like the process. I like the torture and the pain that comes with it. I like the reward that comes after and I don't mean winning. I mean the reward of seeing your physique change. And I just loved everything about it. And I'm like, I want to do this forever. And I'm going to make it happen. So I don't know if it happened all at once like that. It kind of like, yeah, I like this. The more I did it, the more I liked it. But there was a day I remember thinking, and it was after my second win, I was like, I like this. I think I'm good at it, and I'm going to keep fucking doing it because it feels really, really good. So I don't know, maybe that'll trigger something for you guys. I don't know. But like I said, I put myself in a position through my 20s that nothing else was viable. I kept quitting jobs and I kept, I left school and it was the only thing there for me. So I made sure bodybuilding worked. Anyways, guys, that brings me to the end of Hostile Q&A number 3. I got to as many questions as I could. I'm sorry if I didn't get to yours, but we've already been on for like an hour and a half already. So I'm going to probably have to split this into 2 or 3 parts. But thank you guys for watching or listening, and we'll get back for Hostile Q&A number 4 next week. So get your questions ready, and until then, sacrifice without regret and train your fucking asses off. Later.